Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint Germain family. Recently, two big reports have dropped. One regarding Bradley Barcola's future at Paris Saint Germain, and one regarding Luis Campos' future at Paris Saint Germain. I did the quick research of Rooney, so now we have the full context on the matter. Is it believable? Is it reliable? Let's jump into it. So, first of all, we're going to discuss Luis Campos, the sporting director of Paris Saint Germain, obviously. Luis Campos wants to continue at PSG, but he wants a pay raise in his new extension, as Luis Enrique got pay raise in his extension until 2027. Talks ongoing. The Emir of Qatar also shows his support to Campos whenever he comes to Paris. And this was reported back in November. So, Luis Enrique obviously extended, I think, in October, middle of October, end of October. And then the reports immediately came that, Campos is going to do the same at Paris Saint Germain. But then this big report came out from Santi. The relationship between Luis Enrique and Luis Campos has deteriorated in recent times, and tensions have appeared between them in recent days, as reported earlier by Santi. Recently, both of them have had multiple talks, some of which have been quite heated. Campos was at the campus all week this past week, which is a rare thing, and the players understood that something was happening and noticed that there was a distance between both Enrique and Campos. Since Luis Enrique signed his contract extension till 2027, he has appeared increasingly intent on maintaining strict control over the squad, and everything has adopted a more closed-off, authoritarian style. Luis Campos has a lot of influence that he had in the past at PSG, and his voice carries much less weight compared to that of Luis Enrique. This marks a stark contrast to the Christophe Galtier era when Campos interacted daily with the players and got even involved in tactical choices. Meanwhile, Nasser Khalifi is watching things from afar, without taking any sides. The upcoming winter transfer window will provide valuable insight into the relationship between Luis Enrique and Campos, as well as the evolving balance of power between the two. Campos has been actively communicating with market players about his intention to make significant moves during this January, according to Tansi and Santi. So, what we can take away from this is that the relationship between Luis Campos and Luis Enrique, I would say, from the end of the summer transfer window, and definitely after Luis Enrique extended, we definitely saw a power shift, because a sporting director and a manager, it's always 100% of the power. He gets some of it, Like when it was Christophe Galtier, I think Galtier maybe had 35, Luis Campos having the rest in 65%. In the beginning of the Luis Campos era, Campos definitely had more power. Looking at the signings of, obviously Manuel Ugarte happened before, but maybe Gonçalo Ramos, even Colomwani by Nasser Khalifi and so on. It showed that Luis Enrique didn't have the full authority, didn't have the full power, but that evolved throughout the season and in the summer transfer window. For example, in the beginning of the window, we made like a 230 million bid for both Osimhen and Khvicha Kvaratskhelia from Napoli, but that got rejected. Then later on in the window, when we wanted Osimhen, Luis Enrique vetoed the signing and didn't want him. So I think there was even a power contrast during the summer transfer window from the beginning of it until the end of it. So this is something, and we read before about the pay raise, as an obstacle for Luis Campos to extend. Even though his contract is out and he's not sure if he will stay, Luis Campos is already working on the next transfer window. Luis Campos already has a contract extension offer from PSG on the table, but talks about the possible extension are mixed, with some sources claiming he's asking for too much money. Nonetheless, Campos still giving his priority to staying at Paris Saint Germain. So here, once again, it's a continuation of the uncertainty of Luis Campos extending at Paris Saint Germain. For the people that don't know, his contract obviously ends at the end of the summer transfer window, in the beginning of the summer transfer window, end of the season. And these reports are saying that, he's still working on the summer transfer window. His still priority is staying at Paris Saint Germain, but this report here is claiming that he's asking for too much money. Luis Campos' extension is stuck. A proposal has already been made. Sources assure that discussions are continuing other than the advisor is greedy. One thing is certain, the more time passes, the less chance there is of extending it. And this is very recently here from Fabrice Hawkins. Jamail came out as well and mentioned within the club, Luis Campos' contract extension is not unanimous. And then recently, this is the bomb about why, this half video was made. Luis Campos, it should be sorted out. The Portuguese advisor at the end of his contract should extend with Paris Saint Germain. So we're seeing Santi, Tanzi, Fabrice Hawkins, Jamil, a lot of negative reports. Not negative, but, negative towards the extension of Luis Campos. Jamil is mentioning there are mixed feelings. One guy is mentioning he wants too much money. He's greedy. One guy mentions that the relationship between him and Luis Enrique has deteriorated. But then Abdallah Bulma, another very reliable reporter at Paris Saint-Germain, mentions that should extend with Paris Saint Germain. What I take this as is a good sign. I think we are on the right track to extend Luis Campos. For me, the biggest worry about losing Luis Campos was not losing it, it was more losing the upcoming summer transfer window. Paris Saint Germain under Luis Campos in the past 2, potentially 3 summer transfer windows have always done pre-planning for the summer transfer windows, and we've already pre-planned for the summer transfer window. We're looking for an Akhliosh, could maybe go in for Turkey, the interest is there. We're definitely looking for at least one centre-back out of the likes of Konate, maybe even Upamecano. So no, we're definitely already preparing. Also, when it comes to selling players, when it comes to players coming back from loan, Luis Campos would be very crucial to keeping. Also keeping a stability at the club at Paris Saint Germain. Luis Enrique, obviously, in all the press conferences, is saying, no, I want Luis Campos to extend with me. I want him. When I came here, Luis Campos was here. In the future, I'll still want to be with Campos and so on. So obviously, that's what Luis Enrique is saying to the media, but I think Luis Enrique would like him. Obviously, with the recent summer transfer, that was like a perfect summer transfer window in terms of all those signings were really great. Obviously, we should have signed more. We could have signed more, but Desiree Doué, William Pacho, João Neves, and Matviev Safanov have been more impact. I mean, they've been basically 9 out of 10 when it comes to impactfulness in this Paris Saint Germain squad. So we are on a good track, but I don't know what suddenly changed all of this. Was the PSG add up his pay money, like the money that he's asking for it going from all negative reports by different reporters to suddenly a positive report. So I have some small concerns, but this is positive news. This is great news because, I mean, as I said, I don't really care that much about it as some people are, but I would like Luis Campos to extend and continue this journey. Moving on to Bradley Barcola's story. So these are reports that came out before. The French giant club wants to extend Bradley Barcola's contract until 2030. PSG wants to extend Bradley Barcola's contract, which expires in 2028, as he's highly sought after by many clubs. New tensions are rising between Bradley Barcola and Luis Enrique, the place frustrated with Enrique's demands, and Barcola's contract extension is now on hold, reports Santi. Tensions are growingly. Obviously, this was, in that tough period with Luis Enrique and so on, but ever since then, improvements to the relationship between Luis Enrique and Bradley Barcola has happened. Obviously, Bradley Barcola was, in bad form at that time. Since then, he's come into much better form, being very impactful for Paris Saint Germain. I think already 20 plus GA in 2025 so far. So, and Paris Saint Germain want to extend Bradley Barcola, especially with clubs monitoring his situation. And then this report came out as well. Bradley Barcola doesn't feel weakened with Kvaratskhelia signing. The Frenchman is aware that such a challenge are natural in a big club like PSG. He's motivated by it and ready to fight for a starting place. Barcola trusts Enrique's management based on merit. So even the signing of Kvaratskhelia during the summer, do his competition, that has not wavered Bradley Barcola's willingness to stay and fight at Paris Saint Germain. But this is the bombastico that recently dropped. Justin, Bradley Barcola wants to delay his extension with PSG, preferring to wait until the end of the season to see more clearly about the competition. Campos' method often requires waiting for the second season before making extension offer to a player. Hakimi, it could have been 3 potentially years. Nuno Mendes as well. Vitinha, I think second. Who more have we extended? Feels like we extended one more. Nuno Mendes, Hakimi, Vitinha. Well, anyways. So, to answer this, what we first have to do is look at the Paris Saint Germain summer transfer window that Bradley Barcola came in. None of those players have been extended. So, I don't see Barcola not extending yet as a problem. And I don't know if I can believe this on hold. First of all, it's from L'Equipe. It's not the best reporter. And second of all, it just doesn't make sense alongside all the other reports. For example, in the summer transfer window where we bought Bradley Barcola, was it? No, departures. It wasn't the previous summer transfer window, obviously. 23-24 here. And like Colo, Gonçalo, Ugarte, even a player like Dembele's qualities and everything. None of these players, they have come reports about an extension or so on. Obviously, Bradley Barcola is younger, more sought after, so it's a bit different. But why would you extend a player that has, I think, at least 2028? Yeah, a contract until 2028. So for me, Bradley Barcola not extending yet is not a problem. This guy in the summer will have 3 years left on his contract. So I don't understand these delay I think what L'Equipe are just doing, they're seeing no reports about Barcola extension, so they're just putting out these gimmicks that makes absolutely zero sense. Obviously, this report came out as well regarding Akhliosh, and it said this is why Bradley Barcola is reportedly hesitant to extend his contract while waiting to see what competition he might face next season. And honestly, just reading that, I could potentially understand it. The competition just this season is very tough. So just imagine it next season after we by getting 2 to 3 new attackers into the squad. Obviously, the competition is going to be tougher and different, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about these reports. Not the most likely, but they can come from some players of truth, but like 90%. I don't believe this. But obviously, we'll have to wait. More reports will come regarding this. But regarding the question mark if Bradley Barcola will leave Paris Saint Germain, absolutely no. I do not see that happening at all. Both now and in the near future. And regarding Luis Campos, it looks like we are on the right track, but waiting for more positive news. That's been it from my boy PSG. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have any more questions regarding the Bradley Barcola and Luis Campos situation, let me know in the comments down below. And as usual, allez Paris.